So the key essentially is not to avoid any of it. If what you're afraid of being is awkward, and yesterday I talked about a scenario where I was feeling that and I faced it, and it shifted the experience for me because avoiding it was what was really shutting me down in that experience. And so I'm realizing how deep this is around not avoiding anything. It doesn't mean you have to always feel that way. I'm not going to always feel awkward. I will feel very confident sometimes. But other times, we'll have this sort of mixed experience, right? Where like part of us can be feeling awkward, part of us can be feeling bold and courageous, but but we give our power away to the thing that we're trying to avoid, right? So if I avoid the thing that's present in my experience right now, I'm kind of like doubling the energy around it. So it's actually there, and now I'm trying to not focus on it by the fact that I have to focus on it to not focus on it. Do you see how this gets so muddled up? But that then shows you the key. The key is to not avoid it. It doesn't mean you have to do what I did, right? Just deciding to push forward and talk about it openly. It means that within you, not to avoid it. And I've noticed that with anything that has to do with emotions or like our state of being, when we're really worried about the fact that we're feeling a certain way or we don't want to feel that way, we're trying to reject it, it focuses it more down into what it is. Then it's even harder to move past. But there is a way where we can sort of expand out into observing the fact that this is one of the passing experiences, right? My state of being is a shifting thing. It changes and shifts depending on what's happening, right? And there's an element where there are certain states of my being that are more consistent. Like I know elements of myself that are me, right? And but those are kind of more active things. Like I'm going to show up to something because I said I will, right? My state of being is a willingness to be present and to grow, right? So I'm focused on like my path of evolution. But the states of being around, I feel this way, right? So especially around emotions and things like that, those are temporary things. And we're the ones that get worried that this temporary passing feeling is going to create some sort of exponential impact on everything. And we make it this huge thing when it's like, oh, in this moment I'm feeling this way. So like think back to the last time you had like, and we can talk about it around like embarrassment, fear of rejection, awkwardness, fear in general, lack of confidence. Maybe you were going into a meeting or something and there was like high stakes. Or you had a conversation you needed to have with someone. Maybe you were even breaking up with someone. Maybe you were asking someone out, right? Or you're going in to take a test. There's so many areas where we can have this experience come up within us, this emotion that feels really intense, or this state of being that makes us feel less solid in our own self, right? There's loads of things that can happen in life that could inspire that feeling. And what I'm really coming to and been experiencing as I've been practicing this too is the sense of like, okay, sure, this is how I feel in this moment. There's likely a story attached to that, right? There's some story around that I don't know if I can do this, or that like maybe it will be really uncomfortable if I do this, or that that so it's like a threat or something to not know what the other person's reaction is, right? And we get all in our head and all tense about everything. And it's like, if in that moment we were willing to be okay that we can have this multifaceted experience, that I could have my desire for this to go more smoothly, cool. And I also have some element of this experience where right now it's feeling stuck in some way, or I'm feeling afraid, or they're like, there's something happening that sort of like brought up some intense feeling. Cool. Let it be there. What if that got to be there? What if that was like this powerful moment of like a threshold moment, right? Especially around fear. I think that can be some of the most thresholdy type of emotions, because what you're standing at is the cusp of the unknown, right? You don't know that if you walk forward, whatever that means to you in that scenario, what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. And all the fears are coming up around like, but it could be the worst thing that happens. Oh no. And then what? Then death. Like if you go down the line of what you think is going to happen. If I don't get this meeting right, then I'll lose my job. And if I don't have my job, then I don't have money. If I don't have money, then I don't have food. I don't have food, I don't have life. Right? So it's like, poo, 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 poo. And our mind goes like, in my body, I'm experiencing this as the fear of dying. And what's funny too is that there might be a certain type of death that is happening. The death of my ego, in a way. The part of my ego that said, I wasn't strong enough to face this. The part of my ego that was telling me I wasn't enough for this scenario. Or that was telling me, I don't know if I can do this meeting, this test, this whatever, conversation. Insert whatever you're going through. Right? And so in our system and in our mind, we're kicking this up, and our nervous system is like, potential death. Don't step forward. And what's really happening is that when you step forward, the belief that you can't do it does die. Maybe that is what is like kicking itself up and trying to do everything it can to claw its, like, to remain, right? And I don't know about you, but I have experienced like a lot of sort of quantum leaps in regard to fear and confidence, because once I finally take the step and I realize, oh, this isn't hard, like, at all, and even if it wasn't a perfect scenario, like, that still was fine, then it's like quickly kind of demolishes or knocks down the fear belief, the whatever belief that was that created the fear, and then some of the other ones that were around it that were kind of scaffolding it, holding it up, right? It's like, oh. And then you kind of move more quickly, and you realize that as you do this, you could go faster and faster in regard to what you're able to show up to, what you're able to create in your life. And and something this week that I'll be sharing is some of the steps that I'm taking, even from sharing that last video, and even have my own moment of like, did I want to say that online? Like, how much should I tell about the fact that sometimes I can be weird and strange? Well, it's true. That is part of my experience. That's part of what's possible, right? And I'm really realizing that as we open up and relax around the fact that we don't have to be any certain way. We can be all sorts of ways. We can allow the fact that we also have sides of ourselves and aspects of ourselves that we might not like, or that we might think would be judged. Like, as I allow space around that, then I also allow the space for things I'm really proud of, ways I can show up with more confidence, ways I can show up more boldly, more audaciously, right? I can even feel it now. I mean, like, I feel like I'm even here in a different energy than I was yesterday. That's not even that long. I just was really thinking about this and sort of pondering it and embodying it more around this energy of free will aspect that I was talking about, and that we really can choose what we want to choose and go after that. There's like, we'll make all these circumstances and scenarios in our mind the excuse for why we can't just do it. And I've been really integrating into myself, oh, wait, I've had all these reasons why I needed more training, why I needed more experience around this or that. When I look back, I'm like, you actually have a lot of experience in a lot of different things. And bringing some of these things together is the experience I require for the next thing I want to do. And also, you get the experience by doing it. We really forget that part, I think, sometimes. In our mind. Like, you get the experience by actually doing it, by showing up before you think you're ready. And you know what? I actually have a video on readiness. So I'm like, I have to, I take my own lessons, my own insights deeper and deeper myself too. So, okay. So today, this is really about the sense of not avoiding anything, right? And how quickly, too. For example, say we're standing at the threshold of that experience, right? We haven't gone into the meeting yet. We haven't started the test, or had the or like we haven't like sat down across from the person for the conversation, or whatever it is that you're experiencing or doing. um, but we're at that threshold of fear of, okay, if I move forward and I do this, like sometimes we have to do the thing, right? You have to take the test or whatever. But if I do this from an actual deeper level of authenticity and presence that feels vulnerable, like the thing we can hit up against quite often, right? Um, like I can do this, I can get through it, or I can really do this, right? I can get through it, like, or avoid it entirely if it's a conversation that you don't have to have. Or what if I actually showed up to this, imperfectly, the best I can in this moment, but allowing the fact that, like, I don't have to hold myself to a perfectionistic standard to do the thing I want to do. And every time I do it, it gets easier and better and less scary, right? But also, even in this moment, it can shift. Even as I'm doing it this first time, it can shift if I don't avoid any of this experience. I'm allowing myself to be the space that can hold the fear, that can hold the courage, that can hold the part of me that has beliefs and thoughts going on, and the other part of me that shows up with curiosity and presence and stillness. And that if I'm not avoiding, and actually in that case, putting more energy on the thing I don't want, I allow the possibility for the things I want to show up. This is kind of like an even bigger thing too around your life and how you create it. So, yeah, I'm excited. So, the next time you're feeling afraid, scared, or awkward, or just anything that's kind of like activating something in your system, what if you just allowed that to be part of the experience? And you also reminded yourself that it is one part of the experience. It can get really loud, it can feel like the entirety of the experience, but it's just one of the parts, and it can be there. And if I don't try to avoid it, then I'd stop feeding into it, and I can actually put my attention where I want to be. Put my attention into, actually, I want to show up commanding my energy in a different way. I want to show up being more bold about what I'm asking for, actually. Like, if I'm feeling afraid, I might pull back and I might not ask for what I really want. But if I'm like, cool, I might be afraid, and what I'm going to put my energies on asking for the bold thing that I want. Right? So I'm curious if you were to try this the next time that you had a high stakes meeting, or were asking for a raise, or were going to the interview, or whatever you were doing, or showing up to any conversation or anything like that, or getting on stage, what would happen, right? And I think that's part of it too that I've been practicing and exploring myself, is this way of approaching things where I'm like, this doesn't have to be that serious in a way. This can be an experience, like an experiment. This could be, a playful thing, figuring out what happens when I show up this way. What happens about this when I show up this way? We put so much meaning around every single thing, and we make it mean so much more than it does, for one, in reality, than it does. But then it really has to, right? And then we go to this meeting where, like, if this doesn't work out, then I'm royally effed. It's like, is that really the case? You won't ever have another opportunity ever again. There's not any other people in the 8 billion people on the planet that would want your product or want your whatever, or give you that opportunity. Like, is it really true? No. So it's like it never is that serious, and also you can show up with a different kind of energy that holds all of it. And that's the play of life. That's the experiment of life. That's the joy of living, I think. Try it out and report back. I'll report back too. Okay. I'm going to be doing this also. And you already know I'm going to share some of my stories. But I want to hear from you too. Like, what happens the next time you try this? Yeah. Allow, be the space that holds that and other things you want. With that allowance, where can you put your focus? You actually have more choice. When you're not trying to avoid something, you have more choice. So try it out. I'll see you here again soon. My name is Lux. Join me on this channel for things like this and other things. I'll eventually have like a thing I say, but not yet, and that's okay. Bye.